sure you go there, /subscribe, pick a tier. Here with my man, Nick Underhill. Nick, let's get into it, man. Before we do, let's just, I feel like we need to take a quick second just to acknowledge some losses lately, man, just in the sports area. And, it's kind of hard to record and I think about it. So Terrence Taylor, he passed away. I'm just finding that out. You just told me. Chris Wessling news, that one was hard. Marty Schottenheimer, Lou Hill. I don't know, man. It's just a lot, man. Pedro Gomez, he passed away. It's a lot going on right now, man. So shout out. Prayers and condolences to the family and friends of just everyone who lost their lives, man. That's it's never easy. And so we just want to acknowledge, those people and the contributions that they gave to the sports that they covered.
Yeah, man. Chris was someone that was always very complimentary of my work, like very early on in my career. And those boots starting out and somebody recognizing, like, that's huge for just building your career. And then Terez, look, there's not a lot of people like I read regularly that write about sports. It's just I don't want other people's ideas to influence my ideas or things like that. And it's just kind of my approach. But look, man, he was someone when he was covering the Chiefs. He moved over to Yahoo. When he was covering the Chiefs, I felt like the way he covered the Chiefs was real similar to the way that I do my job. He was someone that I checked on almost every single day just to see what he was doing, how he did it. Yeah, and he was he was a titan of the craft. I can't speak more highly of anyone, and that it hurts to see him go. Like man. Seeing him when we crossed paths, he was great. Like it's just tough. It's tough to see, at that age. Like
yeah. No, absolutely, man. It's almost like and I don't know any one of these guys personally, but when you see someone and you respect their work and you read it for so long, I've been listening to Chris Wessling for years on the Around the NFL podcast, and you feel like you just kind of know them a little bit, I guess. And you read the stuff that they do, and you get a feel for their personality, and when you lose them, it's like man. So anyway, we just wanted to make sure we acknowledge those losses, and just pay our respects to the friends and families of those who were lost. So all right, let's move. Let's transition into some Saints talk. There are a few things going. It's always something to talk about in the offseason, and we got a few different places we can start. So let's start with the Drew Brees contract and the restructure. So you are the resident cap guru of us two, and pretty much anyone that talks about the Saints. So tell us what happened and what does it do for the Saints, and what are the implications of said restructure?
So before we do that, just for the live stream listeners, we're doing a t-shirt giveaway tonight on the show. Got the shirt right here.
We got the shirt right here.
Yeah. We got sizes medium to extra large. So if you're smaller than that or bigger than that, I'm sorry. We ain't got you. But here's how it's going to work. It's going to start out with one. We got one to give away for every subscription we sell throughout the live taping of this show. We'll add another shirt to it. So if we sell 10 subscriptions from the start of this till the end of this, there'll be 11 shirts going out. Send your name, send your size, NewOrleans.Football. Shoot off those emails. That'll get you in. And, if you aren't signed up, sign up, support the podcast. Yep. And, we'll keep doing stuff. We're trying to drive up the live viewership here and kind of make this like an event every week. So that's why we got some of these giveaways going, and you guys that are showing up, you're helping us, energizing it. So trying to pay that back. But yeah, if you aren't signed up to the site, NewOrleans.Football /subscribe, any subscription, monthly, annual, elite annual, elite monthly, whatever, that'll get another t-shirt out. If we sell an elite, I'll throw in 4 t-shirts into the thing for each elite, whatever you want, but that's how we're going to do it. But each regular one t-shirt, and if you sign up, that'll help us out, and we'll get these t-shirts out, and that's how you enter. So Brees' contract.
Wait, before you go, I will say there are no mediums because I tried to get a medium shirt. Nick wouldn't send me one, so large and up only.
You got a medium on right now. Don't get Yeah, we got medium, large, extra large right now. So those are the shirt sizes. Send your size. Send your name, New Orleans, or NOF@NewOrleans.Football.
Right there on the screen. Check it out, guys.
Sign up to the site if you aren't right now. We got a story going on tomorrow. Little scenario where how did the Saints build around a star quarterback if they trade for one? What would the approach be? How do they build around Jameis Winston? And what would the approach be if they drafted one? So that story drops tomorrow. So sign up. You'll be able to read that. You guys that are already in, you're in, you got it, all the good stuff. And again, all the support, even if you're just a podcast listener, as you're going to see next week, we're taking it off. We come back. It's going to be a new studio setup. Everything's going to be improved. So the investment coming in is going back into the show. So all that stuff is going to be going up. But no show next week. So this one week off, then we'll be back in the new look. Brees' contract. So, yeah, I mean, basically, look, this is my interpretation of it. A guy retires on June 2nd. You can take his salary cap proration, split it over 2 years. If he retires before that point, hits the cap all at once, you got to take the hit all at once, and you got to carry that number. You got to carry that number for the whole year. So what they're trying to do with Brees, if he retires, they want to wait until June 2nd so they can take the $22 million, split it, $11 million this year on the books, right. $11 million next year on the books. If he retires beforehand, you take the 22 the whole year. What Brees did, though, is so if you wait till June 2nd, he stays on your books until June 2nd, and he had a $25 million base salary, and that would have to stay on the books all the way till June 2nd. So the benefit of him retiring would not help you during free agency, during re-signing your own players, all this stuff. You would not get that relief until then. So what Brees did, he took his $25 million number, took it down to $1 million and some change. So he basically took a $24 million pay cut. Now, I know there's people out there that want to, well, maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll come back. Okay, if he comes back, he's playing for $1 million. Is it impossible that he decides, hey, I'm going to play for $1 million this year, one last go around, take the 24, help the team? Sure, it's possible. It seems unlikely. It seems like this is probably the first step toward that announcement.
I play for $1 million.
We'll let him, make that announcement at whatever time he feels it's fit. It just seems like to me, looking at the situation, seeing how things played out, seeing how, I was told things were going to play out if you were to retire, and then those things start happening. It leads me to believe that, this is step one toward him eventually announcing his retirement, then moving on with another quarterback. Again, anything's possible. Maybe he wants to take that last run at $1 million. I would be more surprised if that happens than, the announcement of him retiring. He calls up Ed Werder and tells him, if I see Ed Werder tweet out a story tomorrow, I wouldn't be shocked. The Saints sent out an email saying, hey, there's a press conference to be available at this time. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. If I saw Brees tweet, run it back. That's where I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised that happened. But I mean, look, it seems like that's what's going to happen. It's a very helpful move by him to the Saints. It gives them relief to do some things, and it just seems like step one toward at some point when it actually happens, we'll have the conversations about what he meant and all that stuff. It's even though we've been talking about these other guys, it's still going to be very surreal when that actually happens. And this era and this guy that meant so much in so many ways to the team, the city,
right?
Well, it's going to be
it's gonna be a moment, man. It's gonna be a moment. It's gonna be a moment. It's gonna be a moment. But yeah, when that happens, if it happens, we'll be on top of it, and Nick will be on top of everything as usually is. So I don't think there's much here. I mean, we I think I'm pretty sure you predicted this. If you guys look in that was 2 weeks ago. I feel like it was 2 weeks ago where you wrote the article about the salary cap and how the Saints can do some maneuvering to be able to, not have to blow their team up with the salary cap this year. I mean, that's one of the things that you predicted in that article, and it came to pass. So again, we've spoken about that article a lot, but it is highly relevant. It is going to be highly relevant until they actually get up under the cap. So just check it out and look it up. Hey, we got a t-shirt.
We got a t-shirt. We're up to two. Yeah, props to Philip and Brett. Just because you titled your thing the Manitoba Mauler does not mean that you have upped your odds. But
that's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
There's still a lot to do on the cap. There is still a lot of work they got to do on the cap. But this is the big one, and it kind of that's 25% of it. There's still things they can do to get it down. I think the news that it's going to hit between 180 and 185 is extremely beneficial for them.
I think it was projected before that, like at what, 173, 175?
Yeah, it's like 175, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal. That $10 million is 5 players for the Saints. I mean, for real, I'm joking, but it could be. So, I think you're just trying to tread water until you get, into something where you got a little bit more room to swim. So smart move, expected move. And I think, it's one of those moves that, you can kind of, if you was going to like bet on one of the moves that is most likely to happen, I think this was like number one. And, there's some other ones that are high probability moves. And I think some of the more interesting moves, and we'll get into them when they happen. It'll be around free agency and some of the guys that they sign or some of the guys that they choose not to re-sign. So, this is one of those expected moves. And, I think one last parting gift for Drew potentially on the way to retirement. So, all right. So I think you wrote an article. And it went up. I was going to say, I think it went up yesterday. And you basically spoke about how the Bucs winning the Super Bowl, guys who live on planet Earth, that happened Sunday. How does it affect the Saints? And so I thought one of the things that you put on there, and I got it up right now. And it's one of the first things you spoke about in the article was, kind of breaking in a new quarterback. And, you just had this team who, I mean, you can make a case that, these teams are similar in talent. Maybe even, if you feel like the Saints were more talented or not, it doesn't really matter. One team won the Super Bowl and one didn't. But, yeah, similar in talent. They both had to break in new quarterbacks. And, just kind of how that process can play out and how it can be beneficial to a team like in year one. And that's a position that the Saints will be in this offseason. So just speak a little bit about that and any other parts of the article, but that was one part of it that definitely stood out to me.
Yeah, look, the one thing I think that Tampa Bay probably didn't do as well as they should have early in the season is basically cater more to Brady. I think there's probably more Arian stuff in a marriage. And then as the season went on, from watching the Patriots for years, like you just start seeing their route concepts pop up, and it's like, wait, whoa, that's a Julian Edelman play, right? What's going on here? And they started doing more of that, and I think as they started doing more of that, you saw their offense get more in sync, and it became more catered towards Tom Brady than Bruce Arians, and I don't think it'd be a huge. If they have a new quarterback, the Saints have a new quarterback, Sean's going to cater his offense to him. Like he's talked about that all the time. And They already do that stuff with their players. Like Marcus Davenport likes to rush standing up, so they let him rush standing up. And they aren't trying to force people in the roles within what they do. They're trying to take what they do and put it to their players. And I think that's the hallmark of a smart coach. And it's a smart person. Like it's good to have ego, I think, because if you have ego, that means that you're probably good at what you do to some degree. Sometimes maybe your ego's bigger than what it should be. Maybe sometimes it is. It doesn't. But like I think if somebody's cocky about what they do, that's good. But I think a smart person realizes when they're just feeding their ego or they're being smart, and a smart person can put that stuff away and say, you know what, like let me show my true brilliance by catering to this person. Like the way I've been doing everything doesn't have to be the way. I can do my way within the confines of this person's skill set. And that's what Sean's always done. He's smart. He's not a stupid ego person. He's someone that's very confident in what he does and confident enough in what he does that he's willing to change it. And, I think that's what makes him good at what he does. And he'll do that with the quarterback. And I think we saw some of that last year. Some of that probably even the year before with Teddy to a certain degree. With Taysom, they pared down some of the route concepts. They pared down some of his reads. They changed some of the protections, more max protect stuff. And it's a little bit of it. But I think also if you were doing a full 16-game slate and you're preparing for a certain player, I think that you can probably even go further with that because it's permanent changes. It's not just, a couple staples, a couple things.
Right.
And there's more time and emphasis set into that. So I think it would even go more that direction. But yeah, I mean, I think that was the main thing that stood out, though, is that you can bring in a new quarterback and,
Absolutely.
go all the way with it. And it does relate. And it is funny because I think a lot of stuff that Tampa does relates to the Saints. And it really isn't like, oh, Tampa's like doing the stuff. It's like, oh, like you start going through and you're like, what does Tampa do well? What does Tampa do well? Oh, they got really good linebackers. Oh, well, the Saints were already on that, but they lost Quan. It's really not, they really aren't changing the game there. They want to have a lot of good weapons. Everybody wants a lot of good weapons.
They start playing more two-man.
Yeah.
That game, I was like, okay.
Yeah. The one thing that stood out is their physicality on defense. But, if you're the Saints, you probably shouldn't touch anybody because the league's going to call it every single time. So I don't know if you can take that from them. It used to be when they weren't very good, like they were taking lessons from everybody. And, Sean was, he'd spend 3 months every time he talked, he'd be talking about the game. And, when the Patriots did this in the game, they did this in the game. And, it ain't like that. Like they're right on the cusp. They're right on the cusp of it. And,
it feels like, it definitely feels like this offseason, like, I'll be honest, like in my mind for years, I've always thought that when Drew retires, like darkness is here, right? It is dark times, it is dark days, it is winless football, and the expectations are still, to me, 10+ win team next year. Like, I'm and we'll see how it turns out, right? But I think the standard, now if it doesn't happen, then fine. I mean, you gotta show me, but I think the standard has been set that this team, that winning is expected, and that's, unless something crazy happens this offseason, that's going to be my expectation, that they're a team, maybe not as good as they were, maybe not, but that they're one of those teams that are, at least in the playoff mix.
I was talking to someone today that covers the Patriots, and I was like, man, like, what did you learn from, like, Brady left? Mm-hmm. What did you learn from that? Like, what would you have done different? What do you regret? And he's like, the thing I regret most is that, we all just kept talking about like how they were going to keep winning. It was just going to keep being the same. And he's like, you should set reasonable expectations. But no, like they're going to keep winning. Like they should keep winning. Like the last 2 years, they lost one game and won a ton of games with backup quarterbacks. Like, I don't think that my expectation should be that like things are going to fall off a cliff if they I think where my expectations are going to lie, and it's going to be independent of quarterback. Like I feel like this is a stupid thing I'm about to say. And when I do like a thing every year, like towards the end of the season, like what I got wrong, dumb things I said, like this is going to be a prime candidate for it. But I feel like my expectations for this team are independent of quarterback, and they're going to be framed by who they're able to keep around the quarterback. And I'm not really that interested in like, I'm super interested in who plays quarterback. But I mean, I think as far as team results, like I think if it was, Taysom, Jameis, Jacoby Brissett, whoever, like I think my expectations for wins based on what I expect them to do as far as maintaining players around them is like 9 or 10 wins.
I think now, like, I get you. I get where you're coming from.
Now, if they go out and make like the wild trade for Russell Wilson or something, like that number goes up. But like, I think there's just like a certain level of quarterback where I think the structure around them is going to allow that player to win 9 or 10 games. And, that can vary one game either way, depending on, a ball bounce, Marshawn intercepting a pass that lands on his butt, like some weird thing that happens, like can change that. But like, that's, I don't think that
the expectations are going to be
I don't think they're
lower. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I mean, I would say first, put some respect on Trevor Siemian's name. You never know.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I'm with you. Like I said, I mean, if you'd have spoke to me 5 years ago, yes, right, Drew gone, man, they out of here. Like, just as a wrap, it's over, right? You got to start from scratch. You got to find the next guy. Now it's like you don't need, like the Saints don't need a quarterback to be in the top 5 to be a winning team. I would say that they probably haven't had a quarterback who was probably top 5 maybe last couple years, right? And they've been one of the more winning teams in the NFL. I don't know where exactly I would put Drew as in like quarterback rankings, because I think it's hard to place a guy like that. He does so much more than you can just maybe know from watching the film. But yeah, I know he's not probably top 5, and they've been able to be a 13-win team. So if you have a guy who's maybe a couple of tiers lower, or I mean a tier lower, maybe a few spots lower, then okay, you drop a couple of wins, but that's still in the 9, 10, 11 win category range, right? Now, where do they fall in there? Plus or minus 3, we'll see. I think 10 is probably the over under right now. Just in my head, 10 feels like the number. Like if you're doing like the over under there, we'll see where that number lands depending on what happens in the offseason. But yeah, I think it's a fair take. I think there's going to be enough talent around whoever is the quarterback that they're going to be putting this chance. They're going to be given a chance to succeed. And I think the talents of that quarterback are going to be used to a point where they'll be in their best position to succeed, instead of maybe other places where guys like, hey, my way or the highway. Well, now we're going to just do what you're best at, given the talent that's around you. And I think that will benefit, obviously, someone like Jameis, who we'll speak about a little bit more later in the pod.
Yeah, look, the thing is, too, is that I feel like they just had a lot of success. I want to be careful how I say this because, like, okay, like Drew was hurt. He had the torn rotator. He had the rib injury. His lung blew up. He had the plantar fascia. That happened, I think, before the Chargers game. So, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on with him. He was hurt the whole season. He wasn't really himself. I think within that, we saw moments where he looked really good, games where he looked really good. The consistency wasn't there.
Right.
So I'm not sure that it was a 12-win team because of the quarterback, and the quarterback was out of there and they still won 4 games. So there's that too. I mean, so I don't think that they were a quarterback dependent team probably for at least 2 seasons, maybe 2.5. I don't want to say 2.5 because
I think 2. I think 2 is fair.
Brees was headed toward like was having an MVP campaign in 18 until he got hurt late in that year. So yeah, I think maybe the last 2 years it was kind of a team that where the quarterback led them to some victories, and I think that's why, like, if Drew's in there, you're thinking 11, 12, 13 wins. You take Drew out, and now it's like 10. I think it's fair, and it's not disrespectful to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they went 8-1 without him. I keep going back to that. Like, and look soft schedule maybe sometimes, but you play who you play. Every team that you play, they're not going to be the Packers or the Chiefs. They played those teams, they beat those teams, and those wins count, right? I mean, the Chiefs are not in the best. Maybe they're in the division with, I don't know who they're playing, Denver and, the Chargers and whatnot. So, you play who you play and you beat those teams. So, yeah, I think you totally make a valid point there.
Jordy's got a question. He said, do you think the 10-win standard is just with the Saints fans organization? I feel like the Saints will be pretty disregarded on a national level. I saw today someone, I don't know whose power rankings they were. They had them like 12th or something in there. And I was a little bit surprised that somebody in the national media even had them, at 12. I thought they were going to drop them way further than that.
I saw Bleacher Report had him at like 17, and I was like, looking at some things above him. I was like, I get where right now I get it because you don't know who's the quarterback, and it's early in the offseason. But let's see what happens in the offseason and let this thing play out a little bit. And I have a little bit better of a take on it. Maybe some team comes and pays Jameis all, I don't know, whatever. And then if you have to start Taysom, then you maybe feel a little bit different about that. So. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to put it this way, but like, honestly, like I just don't have any interest with anybody outside of Louisiana, really has to say about the Gulf,
Wait.
the Gulf Coast area. Like, we'll miss, anything that's not near the Gulf of Mexico. Like, I really don't like, it's just, I don't care. Like, I don't care what you have to say. I don't care what the person who lives in Los Angeles has to say about their cap. I don't care what they have to say about the team. Like, they just aren't. I just don't think that they're in tune with the things that are happening here. Like, those people the person that ranked them 17th probably thinks that they're going to have to cut, Ryan Ramczyk and Lattimore and everybody on the team and DeMario Davis and trade Michael Thomas because they have to clear $97 million in cap space. And, it's just like, I don't think that they understand what they're evaluating yet. We might be way too optimistic. I mean, that's also true too, but somebody that says like, oh, the Saints could probably still compete for a playoff spot next year. Like, I think that's a much more reasonable take than like, oh, they're done.
Yeah, I'm with it. I guess there will be no United States.Football is what you're trying to tell the people.
Well, look, if there's ever United.States.Football, like the guy in Minnesota damn well ain't writing about the Saints. Like I just don't care. Like I don't like if you want. I don't know. It's just like I feel like the conversation about this team this offseason has just been so misguided because like they're evaluating things that aren't real. Like you're talking about the monster in the closet. There is no monster in the closet. Like there's a whisper outside. Like there's a guy making weird noises in the front yard, and that's a little bit of cap space you got to take care of. But like nobody's jumping out of the closet with a machete to take the team out. Like they might get frightened a little bit, but they're gonna be okay. Like once they get over it.
Yeah, no, I'm with it, man. Yeah, I totally don't. I just had to put some respect on Trevor Siemian's name on the screen. But yeah, when I see someone say that, like the Saints are done, I don't see how you can watch the Saints the last 2 seasons and logically have that take. I guess that's my point. Now, it's not impossible, but I would just like to know what is the basis of it. Is the basis of it is they're blowing up their team because of salary cap? Is it because Drew Brees is gone? Like, I would just like to know what's the thought process behind that take, right?
Realistic Taysom won 4 games. Like theoretical Taysom wasn't even out there. Like realistic Taysom, he hit the 4. They won 4 games with Taysom. Like a guy that everybody like by the end, I don't think there was any I don't think he had much support from anybody. Like nobody was a believer in what he was going to do. At that point, I don't think anybody had any belief in theoretical Taysom. Did we talk last? No, we haven't talked about how like Sean was talking about him as like a strong safety and stuff, have we?
Oh no, we gotta get that. Let's go there because Sean was talking crazy this week. So we got to get into the Jameis comments and this Taysom. Like basically,
before we do that, let me rehype here just in case anybody. We got the T-shirt giveaway. The email is on the screen. If you aren't subscribed, everybody that subscribes, for each subscriber, we're throwing out another T-shirt. So we got 2 so far. People keep signing up. We'll give away 3 T-shirts. Enter the draw. If each purchase of a subscription puts another shirt up for the draw. So keep signing up for the site. It helps us. All that stuff. And yeah, Sean was talking reckless.
If you're lucky, I got an extra hat in there. We might give away. Because this one is just they can have the other one, not this one though. This is like the best hat I own. They can't have this hat.
The other hat's retired. The other hat's retired.
Okay, well that's like a classic. You know what? When United.States.Football gets created, then I'll have the NewOrleans.Football original hat with the Nike on there. But yeah, man, it's gonna be fun when we can like have some like a straight up place where people can just go get merch. That'll be fun. I was rocking the gray hoodie with the black stripe on the side, and I was just feeling so confident, man. I'm gonna start like posting pictures of me and all my NewOrleans.Football gear. Just I got it and they don't. So,
hey, Gray, you sign up, man. I'll definitely give you Kevin's whiteboard. No problem. Like, that's on the
What's back there today?
he can write on paper. He's fine.
Hey, listen,
you put up a new piece of poster board every day. I don't care what you got to do, man.
Hey, listen, man, you giving away my belongings. And listen, if you are interested in microservices, then you can have that. You can have that whiteboard. Size S.
All
right. Get into it, man. Go ahead. Take the reins because Sean was talking crazy this week, and I want to talk about it. Like Sean.
Yeah, well, let's start at the super wild stuff. Like he was talking to Kevin Clark of the Ringer, and Kevin basically asked me. He said, like, Sean, defend your Taysom Hill.
Oh, man.
Your Taysom Hill love. And Sean was basically like, hey, look, if I were to trade this guy, there'd be 31 other teams interested in him just as a football player. And he starts talking about like strong safety. Was it past? Did he say?
He said linebacker. He said linebacker.
Linebacker. Yeah. And then, he said that's not even getting to the quarterback stuff. Out of all those positions, like I think the theoretical Taysom that I would want to see, safety. I would love to see him just.
He's strong safety all day. Yeah.
I want to see him hitting up people on slants, crossing routes, whatever. Like he's not gonna, he's not gonna catch anybody on a double move. Like he just don't move like that. It's a straight line and go. But like he would like Taysom hitting somebody over the middle. Like
it's over. It's over.
It's the end of life.
It's over. They're gonna like. Listen, nothing would make me happier than seeing Taysom play the strong safety. Like if I see Taysom on the edge, like about the blitz, like bro, I might lose it. Like I might.
Oh my God.
I might lose it. Like, you know how fun that would be? and it's crazy because, like, Sean was believing everything he was saying. Like, he wasn't even hesitating. He was like, all right. Like, when the guy asked him to defend Taysom, he was like, all right, like, how much time you got? And he was in it, man. And at the end of the interview, Clement Clark was like, man, I feel like I need to go defend Taysom now.
It's true though. Like he really could do anything that he wants to do. Like if he just said like, okay, I'm not going to play quarterback anymore, and I'm going to devote 2 seasons to being a safety, I believe he would be a really good safety. Yeah, and it might even be really. He might be even good pretty quickly at it because he has good instincts. He moves well. He hits hard. There's no reluctance there. Like I have no doubt that Taysom can tackle well.
He's been good at everything though.
Yeah,
like let's just give the guy credit. I mean, he's going to be a great weapon for Jameis Winston.
If he embraces it, if he were to embrace it, that's my big question with him. And I don't think that he's someone that would be a me guy or anything like that. I think he'd just do whatever he's told to do. But I do wonder like if there would ever be a point in his career where he would embrace doing something else because he's not practicing at tight end. Like he's just going out there and blocking. Like he's not spending every practice playing tight end. Like if you were to spend every practice playing tight end, I think he's already pretty good at it. I think he could be really, really good at it. Asked him last year because it seems like his route running has gotten better, and he said like, yeah, it has gotten better, but it's just like through the study of quarterbacks, seeing how guys run. Like he isn't practicing route running. He's not working with like a foot coach, is what they call him on how to get in and out of breaks and stuff like that. Exactly. If you were to do all that stuff, I think he would be excellent at any of those things. But that's just
his focus is. I mean, I think if he just practice it, if he had one off season and just a full season of practicing in those positions, I think that would be enough for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he can. I like it's offensively, other than offensive line, obviously. I think he could play any position. I mean, I look, wide receiver, tight end, fullback, running back, quarterback, H-back. I don't know. What am I forgetting? He's a gunner. He's a kickoff return guy. Like I think he can do like anything on special teams and offense. Defense, it's a little bit more projection. It would be fun to see. I think he would eventually like have some success there. But I think Coach Pay made his point, man. He was like, listen, if I put him on the market, there's 31 teams that want him on. There's 31 teams that would like a Taysom Hill. And I'm thinking like, all right, well, he made his case. Like the guy asked Sean a question and Sean gave him the best possible answer that guy could have asked for.
Oh yeah.
like seriously, like it was like interview gold. Like, like those one of those clips you're thinking like, all right, I'm definitely going to put this on Twitter.
I'm gonna throw a curveball at you here, and this isn't me like being like, hey, here's a crazy idea that's about to happen. Like this is actually just like a crazy thought that I'm throwing out there. Like I'm not trying to foreshadow anything, which sometimes I do. Like I'm just saying, I'm just saying this like out of nowhere. Like as we're talking about people doing different things, what would you think of Bond edge rushing next? Like if Hendrickson leaves, cap's tight, you can't get a replacement.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been thinking that the last couple of days too.
Really good idea. No, not. I think it's an outstanding idea. I think that Bond would probably be happy with that. I mean, he was doing some pass rush work on Thursdays. I want to say whatever third down day is for the team when they.
Yeah, he was doing some. Yeah,
he was doing third down pass rush work on that. So, I mean, look.
He had some good rushes during the season too. Like I think his best moments were when he was rushing, and maybe the linebacker thing's still in the cards. Maybe having a whole offseason, he comes back and it's gelled, and he's hitting it. He works with a coach, and all that stuff comes together and it clicks.
But what if he's a base down Sam and a third down pass rusher?
I mean, it would help. Like, because if you lose Trey, you're gonna have to replace that somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's outstanding. And they had this guy like. First round, which is a little scary, but whatever. But like they had him graded pretty high, and they felt pretty good about him. And they were trying to get this guy way before they did, right? And they looked up and no one wanted to trade with him, and they still ended up with him, which you can't beat that. So I think that's a great idea, man. I'm actually, now that I think about it, if you lose Trey, can you just run with Granderson and development a bunch? Because I love the idea. Now I'm thinking, because it's like you got to just, if you don't re-sign Trey, you got to run with Marcus. Marcus is make or break, man. Like your 2 first-round picks. I mean, whatever you got, whatever you spent for him, it doesn't matter anymore. But they invested a lot in you. You should be able to be a starting defensive end and a bookend and the foundation of the D line, right? That's what you expect from him. Let him have that position and let Granderson and Bond back him and Cam up.
The developmental Davenport days got to be over. Like Bond can be your developmental power now. Like it's enough. It's enough. Like I defended him probably more than anybody. I preach patience more than anybody. And there were moments where he earned that. And I think when he first came back, he pushed it. It's done. It's done.
It's over.
It's now.
Show me,
yes,
bro.
Yes.
And I'm the biggest, I'm like you. I've been like a Davenport supporter, right? And when he plays well, I say it, and when he's not playing well, I give him that too. But if he doesn't show up this year, then there you go, man. I don't have any more for you. No more injuries. All that stuff is over. No more excuses. They invested a lot in this guy, and they're gonna have to make a decision on him pretty soon, like as it pertains to his 5th-year option. So
yeah, I mean, look, even if he's hurt, like I won't get on a guy for being, but like when you're on the field, you got to deliver now.
Yeah, I mean, but availability.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. It's just
Sheldon Rankins was, we dealt with the 1st-round pick with Rankins, and I mean, and I don't blame the guy, but when we're evaluating
that's what I'm
him,
getting at. That's yes.
When we're evaluating like him and like what that draft pick meant, just you being available is one of the biggest things for him. I wonder how much that's like hindered his development, right? Just missing that time that he missed, because for a guy like him who went to UTSA right down the road from where I am, I mean, having those reps against, maybe different level of talent, that's valuable, right? And so, I don't know, man. That guy's got to show up this year, because if they lose T-Rex, then, and back to your point, which, man, again, I think it's a great point. If we was talking about the Marcus versus Trey Hendrickson discussion and who would you rather keep, like, we both agreed that I would rather have Marcus. And I just think that you've invested so much in the D-line that you would like to feel like that you can, you invested a high pick in Bond. He's someone who can rush the passer. You got Marcus Davenport there. You kind of looked up with Carl Granderson. He's not great, but for a guy who was undrafted, I mean, you'll take it. I feel like they
had flashes. Like, I'm not necessarily sure I want to extrapolate those as like,
right. More snaps, more pressures, more sacks.
Yeah, but there's something. I think there is something possibly there, at least.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's going to be 13 sacks Trey Hendrickson, but like, I think he's probably somebody that can come in and give you a few. And then if Bond can give you a few, and Cam, if he finds a way to, be a little, turn those pressures into more sacks again, maybe you can piece it together.
A lot of ifs, man. A lot of ifs. It feels like
it's a ton of ifs. Yeah.
It was like that last year though, wasn't it? I think I remember saying the same thing last year. Like,
Trey came out of nowhere. Yeah.
Because I remember I wanted Calais Campbell. I was like, okay, I want some non-ifs on the D line, right? And then Trey Hendrickson was like, I got you, Kev. He called me up. He was like, we good. I was like, get at him, T-Rex.
Hey, shout out to David for signing up. We got 3 shirts to give away now. So keep signing up. People sign up for a subscription. That's an extra shirt in the poll. So we're at 3. Someone else signs up. Keep entering the draw.
There you go. Man, did you know what? That's a rumor. Let's get into this guy right here. Where my captions at? Sean was talking real reckless. Sean was talking mad reckless this week. And bro, every time I don't know if he's like trying to get Jameis. So I got 2 schools of thoughts here. One, Jameis, man, we want you to resign. We might not be able to give you like that whatever contract that the Cowboys, or not the Cowboys, some quarterback needy team may throw at you, but just trust us. This is your future, and I'm gonna say everything nice I can possibly say about you to get you back here. These are not ranked in any order. This is just thought process number one.
Let me answer that one before you go to two. Like, my thought on that is I think Sean was strategically recruiting him. I think this is a guy that's been discarded, and I think that there's probably an element of if you make him feel wanted, it's gonna help keep him in the fold. I don't think Sean does anything by mistake. He did the same thing with Taysom before, and I think it's the same thing. Taysom's discarded, doubted. Nobody believed in him. Last year, he was hyping Taysom everywhere. And I think the hyping of Taysom all along played into that. Did it create maybe unreasonable expectations at a certain point? Yeah, sure. It probably did. But I think with Jameis, it's, hey, we want you. Nobody else might have wanted you. And if they want you now, we wanted you the whole time, and nothing's changed.
Sean playing 3D chess with him.
I'm with it. 8D chess.
8D. I mean, look, ain't even been invented yet. Future chess.
You threw the Queen's Gambit on him.
That's funny. That's funny. Thought process number 2. Sean just don't be lying in the offseason, man. Like, Sean just don't be like. At some point, the rest of the NFL is going to realize. And Sean is probably. I'm probably going to be a little biased here, but he's one of the. I listen to like head coach interviews because I just want to know like what's in these guys' heads. Like, especially in the offseason, Sean is one of the most entertaining head coach interviews you're going to listen to. I think if you for the Bruce Arians say anything crazy, anything type of interview, he's a guy that's fun to listen to. But Sean will like say anything in the offseason and he'd be real about it. That's my train of thought number 2. Sean just keeping it 100.
You get Sean in the right setting, and he just talks and he talks and he talks. And if he's in a good mood, he's talking. You know, I think sometimes he gets sick of hearing questions from the same people day after day after day, and I get sick of hearing questions from the same people day after day after day on this go. So I can't imagine what it's like for him. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, he definitely gets annoyed with us, but you know, there's days where Sean's feeling it, and when he's feeling it, like he's extremely entertaining. He's educational. He's a teacher.
He is a teacher at heart too. He loves to teach.
Yeah, and he does it with swag. You know, like it's just there's just something different about Sean. He's just more
yes, confidence. It is. You can hear it when he talks. Man, so I actually he said so much about Jameis that I actually had to just start writing some of it down. And it was from the Yahoo Football podcast. And he started off by saying that, you know, Jameis has an elite quarterback personality along with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Brees. There's a theme on everything he was saying. And it was like, I didn't hear Taysom name. And the guy was asking him about Jameis specifically. But he's like, he has an elite quarterback personality similar to what Teddy has and what Drew has. And they're talking about just their personalities as quarterback and as leaders. And, you know, and listen, man, I'm being messy. This rumor season, whatever. Maybe I'm starting something. I don't care. Let's have some fun. But I'm like, man, you know, like, what about Taysom? Right. And then he's like, he's won a bunch of games. There's no projection with Jameis. I was like, okay, well, Taysom didn't win in college. Right. Everything I'm doing, I'm juxtaposing it against Taysom. Right. And he said the best indicator of the future is past behavior. Sean has said that before. Jameis has won big games. I'm like, all right, you know, going on and on. He spoke about how he's the first player for the guys come off the bench at halftime. He said he was a terror. Right, a terror for the defense in practice because of his arm strength. Right, he's like me and DA 40 yards back. Next thing I know, the ball come flying over my head. I'm like, you know, so he's going on and on, man. I could just go on. He's talking about his charisma, how he is in the meeting rooms, and they ask, you know, they say, what are you saying to Saints fans who are worried about the quarterback position? And he was like, well, we were 2 steps ahead of him, which, okay, I think that was a Taysom reference. You know, that's 1 for Taysom, like 5 for Jameis. And one thing that he did say was interesting, which makes me like really understand some of the moves that they've not made. He was like, he made this notion about how they used to always get couches as a kid and they would go shopping for couches every summer or whatever. It was
I've
funny.
I've heard that couch analogy more than once.
You probably like. I know you have.
It's like, oh, he's on the couch. He's rolling. He's rolling.
He in this bag when he's talking about the couch. Yeah, it's funny because you probably like you be like, oh, he's telling this story, right?
The couch one's deep though, man. When he hits that couch story, it's like, oh man.
Oh my gosh. So he's going on about this couch.
Like somehow you compared his parents like getting couches at yard sales to the quarterbacks.
And it was like, bro,
quarterbacks.
Like one couch was an L, and then you sit in it, and it's like we got a bad. Right? It was so funny, bro. And I'm like, so they asked him this question, and so I've never heard the couch story, right? And so I'm like, what the hell is Sean talking about? And then he was like, you see all these quarterbacks, they not gonna fit nicely. I'm like, oh, I see the 8-dimensional chess. So basically, long story short, everybody going to get these new quarterbacks. They're not going to fit in so well to all these new places that they're going. And so Sean says, hey, look, the good thing about Jameis was that he had a chance to evaluate us and we had a chance to evaluate him. And we kind of know exactly like what the fit is. And I'm like, bruh, and the funny part, it was like, they asked him like, oh, what's the competition going to be like between Jameis and Taysom? He started off by saying they're going to compete and whatever. And then he went right back into Jameis.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, well, first, shout out to Tevin. Got another subscription for T-shirts going out. Keep signing up for the site. T-shirts going to draw. Enter the draw. Yeah, I'm with you, though. Like, listen to these interviews. I heard it the same way as you. And it's because I don't think there's any other way to hear them.
Right.
Like Taysom might very much still be in the mix. I don't know, but every time, yeah, it was like Jameis, and oh yeah, Taysom.
Exactly.
Jameis, oh yeah, Taysom. and yeah, I mean, maybe it's he's pushing Jameis out because there's the recruitment aspect of it and everything. My question is, like, what is it going to take to sign him? And like, what would it take for somebody else to attract him out of here? I think if there's any possibility of a competition in another city, he just comes back. I don't think that he would go to New York. Well, look, I shouldn't say I don't think he would. I don't know what he'd do. I think it would be not beneficial for him to go to like New York and compete with a rookie quarterback and end up like Teddy did. I don't think that you invest a year in the system, get comfortable with it. If he believes it's either A, he has a leg up on Taysom, or B, it's an even competition. If he doesn't feel like he's starting at a lower point at all here, I don't think that he should leave unless he's absolutely 100% guaranteed a starting job. And I'm not positive if he hasn't been guaranteed that here. I don't know. Like he might have, he might not have. It might be a competition, but I don't think it would be smart for him to leave unless he knows he's going to be a starter. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that's going to give him $20 million. I don't know what would have happened to take him from 1 million to 20. Like, could it be 10? Yeah, I could see 10. Could I see 10 with incentive? Sure. 12 with incentive? Sure. But I think if the Saints believe that he has a chance of winning that job, like you're still in the game at that point.
Right.
If it hits 20 and it is just like a competition or something like that, then you probably back out. But I think you got to spend to a point if there's a belief that he's better or could be better than Taysom. And listening to him talk, boy, it sure feels like if he believes that, man.
Man, he is talking like Sean was talking so like he was going on about Jameis like to a level where I was just like, is he talking about Drew at this point? And like I said, I know he wants the guy back, and I think you make a good point when you said just give the guy some confidence. Like, look, we spent the year with you. Let me tell you, like you've heard it in private. Let me pump you up in public. And last year, remember we didn't think we were, the conversation was like, okay, is he blowing smoke with this whole Taysom thing? And
because it got so over the top.
It was so over the top. And then it was the first round thing. I was like, oh, are you trying to get somebody to no? And then they signed him. I was like, oh, okay. Like he was being honest about it, right? And they knew. I don't know, man. I don't know. And then Ian Rappaport, NFL insider, reported that that I think he said Jameis has the like the upper hand in the job or something along those lines. Like Jameis he's the lead guy right now for the starting position, and Ian is as good as there is in the business. When I have the highest opinion of him. Whenever he tweets something, I take it to the bank. I think Ian's outstanding. So when I saw that,
he's the best in the game, in my opinion.
There we go. I'm team Ian all day. And so when he reported that, I was like, oh, okay, well, there we go. He's the leader, for for this quarterback competition, right? Air quotes. So I'm just Sean was talking. He was talking reckless, man, and Sean is an honest person. Between the Super Bowl and the first preseason game, ask him what you're gonna ask him, man, because he's probably gonna be honest with you. And it seems like Jameis is the guy, and so I was just excited to hear him just talk about it, because I was like, okay, well, it's kind of an exciting position to be in, right? Because Drew's retiring, and that's everyone kind of knew that moment was coming. I feel much better about it now, seeing it happen and just kind of where he is, than I did thinking 7-8 years back, like, man, what's going to happen? Like, I think Drew is ready to retire. Now, I was looking at him not the other day, man. He's making food, having daughter dates, and got his little beer. I'm like, Drew's out of here, man. Like, I know what a retiree looks like, and so just the notion of like having a new guy in there and kind of having a year in the system, it is exciting. And it's an exciting time to be like watching this team, in covering this team, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of Saints stuff there's a lot of exciting future here. And man, I don't know. That's kind of a little small rant, but it's just fun, like being able to like see the things that's going on with this team. Some crazy stuff like guys and COVID and protocols and stuff, and fun stuff like quarterback competition. So we'll see how it turns out, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to talk about Drew at this point because it might not be like this in the regular world, but on Twitter there's like a division, and it's insane. There's an insane division.
I've seen it.
Of and I'm afraid to say
I've seen it. It's too much for me, bro.
To say anything at all about Drew. Like, with respect to Drew, do I believe that if Brees was healthy and there wasn't a Cesar Ruiz hit and he showed up week 1 healthy, he doesn't take a big hit the whole season, could he lead this team? Yeah, because I do. I think he could. Do I think that? I don't know. Like, is he going to come back and do it? I don't know. Like the contract thing, like I said early on, it seems to indicate that he made a decision, based on all the talk around the team, and he could always change his mind. But look, before the season, he signed a contract with NBC. At the Pro Bowl last year, it really sure felt like there was a strong consideration towards stepping away. He decided to come back. And just throughout the whole year, it just seems like everybody knew that there was one more run. And the way everybody talked was with a sense of finality. Everything I heard was a sense of finality. At the end of the season, there was talk of a finality. Brees is conducting himself as if, I don't want to evaluate his Instagram post or, anything like that, but man, it just feels like it's heading there. So yeah, I mean, but I'm with you. I think the way they built this team is put them in a position, like we were saying earlier, that I think they've given them a good shot to endure. And
exactly.
Yeah. What would I like them to be in a better position at quarterback? Yeah, I would. I mean, and that's not a knock on Jameis, but it's a guy that they're rehabilitating, to some degree. And I know 2 people that are probably listening to this right now that are going to be in my DMs after this mad at me about saying that about Jameis, but it's true. He's here for a reason. And I think he's intelligent enough to know that he needed to get to a better place and learn from people, and that can make him a better quarterback. That's not saying anything about him. I'm commending his intelligence, and I think that he could be very, very good. But yeah, I mean, you would have liked them to draft Patrick Mahomes, sure. You would have liked them to get Deshaun Watson, sure. Drafted him. Just something. But again, I guess if you were entering this door, those guys would be on sure things too. So there's always a leap into the unknown, and maybe Jameis is a great option. Maybe he isn't. I don't know. We're gonna find out. But I do like his chances in this offense with this team.
Absolutely,
with his ability, with this coaching. If there's a scenario where Jameis is going to become what he should have been, this is it. And
yeah,
I think there's a chance we're going to find out what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, start getting your questions ready. We're gonna try to answer a couple of them before we close. Nick, can I just take? We were texting about it like during the Super Bowl. I think the throws that I saw Patrick Mahomes, I just got to talk about it. The throws that Mahomes are making this weekend were some of the best throws I've ever seen in my life. Listen, man, and this is way off subject, but I have to say it. I went back and looked at some of those throws. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. And I tweeted, I was like, if those receivers make those catches against the Saints, 100%. Right? Just joking, but I don't think listen, people talk about him getting shut down.
Well, you said they catch those passes against the Saints?
Yeah. They would have caught all of those passes. Bro, he was falling.
Get stuck in the face mask.
Bro.
Like it goes through Tyreek's hands, it's just his face mask, and he falls back in.
Come on, bro. Those throws, man. Like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, this guy's falling, and he's throwing the ball 25, 30 yards on the whim, somehow vertical to the ground, like on point, man. I don't know. It was some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen in my life. I just had to get that take off.
No, look, he fought a fight, and shout out to Tellus, another subscription. We're up to 5. Sign up to the site, gets another shirt in the draw. Send the email to the address on the screen, and we'll get you guys in there. Let's get one more before this thing's over. Yeah, man, some of the stuff he was doing in that game was outrageous. That's another thing too. I feel like it was like way too hot out there. Like, I don't know if Mahomes like was great in that game, but it's like on Twitter, you either got to say he was great or he was terrible. Like, I think his team let him down. I think his offensive line let him down. That doesn't mean that like he was, he had some magnificent moments overall. He played the game. He did some things. He was in a terrible situation throughout the game.
Bro, he got pressured. He got pressured 29 times.
Yes. He did the best he could within that. He did the best he could within that.
Bro, 29.
I mean, they were without their tackles, but yeah, that game 100% solidified. They might not have, every pick might not have been perfect, but like drafting offensive line is always smart. If you're winning in the trenches, like you're giving yourself a great chance, and you got to do that.
Yeah,
and I think that solidified that. Look, he's an incredible player, man. Like, that's just really, he was doing things that it's just like, it was unbelievable.
Those were just unreal, man. I was just thinking like, man, Sean would have been a fool with this boy. But all right, so we got a few questions. I feel like this one's directed at me, so I'm gonna redirect it to Nick. I really need to hear you two's opinions on Carson Wentz. Nick doesn't let me talk about Wentz, so you take it.
Here's my thing on these guys. Like, these guys, Sam Darnold, anybody else, if they trade for him, we'll evaluate it and give him a chance or whatever. But like, my take on these guys is that like, if you are going to give up capital for a quarterback, it better be somebody that you are 100% getting an answer with and not a maybe. If you're going with the maybe, just ride with the maybe you got, and you aren't giving anything up to get them. But now if you're investing picks into somebody and, a year from now you need to replace them, like that's not good. That's not what you want. Like, Carolina goes out and gets Teddy, and all they lose there, if he's not their quarterback next year, is money, and they're already trying to replace him, and that's fine. Like, if your mistake is just money, it's you don't want to make a money mistake, but you'd rather make a pure money mistake trying to find an answer than picks/money, at the same time. So I think
money too, a lot of money there, buddy.
Unless you're getting Deshaun, Russell Wilson, whoever else. Nah, just ride with what you got, or if you're gonna upgrade, if you want to go sign somebody or something, that's fine. But if not, you can't trade for him. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm with it. My opinion on Wentz is, I thought he was one of the best prospects I ever seen coming out, and he looked like that for a while, and I don't know what. Here's what I'll say:
you can't trade more than a third for him. Maybe I should say.
Oh man, I think he'll get more than that, but
right.
He's a quarterback. He's going to get a first. Yeah,
you can throw a third at a maybe, and then coach him up, flash him in the preseason, and possibly get that pick back. But yeah, you can't invest more than
depends
that.
on. I think it depends on how you feel. What happened to him? Say if I'm Indianapolis and the coach who was there with him and he knows him really well, and if I was say covering the Colts and they traded a first for Carson Wentz, I wouldn't kill that move. I wouldn't kill that move at all. Just because who has more information about him at this point than that guy, right? I'm not saying I think it's a good move or a bad move. I'm just saying it's a quarterback, and if it's a 25% chance he's good, then I guess sometimes it's worth it. But you never know what these guys like. You never know how these guys operate. I mean, I'm almost spinning rumors, but like people say like the Foles thing never sit well with Wentz and he never recovered from that. And it's like, I don't know how to evaluate that stuff, man. Like I'm not in the room interviewing these guys when they're in this draft.
Is he worth the first round pick?
I don't think he's worth a first round pick based on his play this past year. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, if you can get him for a second and roll the dice, I guess.
But he's a young quarterback with the most ridiculous talent who's shown it. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I understand. Like he's going to listen. The Bears want him. Indianapolis probably like they're going to get a first for him, right? I think it's going to happen. I'm not going to say I necessarily agree with it, but I understand, teams like you got Mitchell Trubisky as your quarterback and you're the Bears and you're picking at pick 20. I don't know. I part of me kind of understands it. If you're Indianapolis and Frank Reich is your coach and you think, and the Wentz stopped being great when you were there and you know how to get the most out of him. Like I said, I get it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I understand the thought process behind the move.
Yeah, like man, that Carolina's like, I don't know if this was a real report or a fake report. There's a lot of like weird reports that people just tweet weird things. Right. So I don't know. I don't know if Carolina was actually inquiring about Trubisky. I'm not even going to talk about this because I don't even remember where I saw it.
Tell me more. Please, Carolina. Please.
I was scrolling and saw a tweet. And I don't know, like if somebody was like reporting something or like it's one of these weird accounts that like just repost reports. I don't know what it was.
NFLrumors.co, something like that.
I mean, they're legit. I mean, they're like a legit aggregation place. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I saw it on their feed or like some other weird thing. So I'm gonna move by. I'm gonna move by this.
All right, but Carolina, please sign Mitchell Trubisky. That's the guy you need.
Man, like I was just gonna make a point. Like, just roll with Teddy. Like, don't go to Mitch,
bro. Maybe you're trying to draft higher than number 8 next year. Then old Mitch is your guy.
I'm trying. Yeah, not. I'm thinking. I don't think it was like a legitimate account where I saw this.
No. Yeah, NFL rumors that.
There's a lot of these now, though, man.
Australia. Price or something. One of those weird. You can all these different websites I see now, man. I'm like, I'm not clicking that link, bro. It's not happening. Not happening. But yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I could see a guy like Frank Reich saying, "Hey, I know this guy better than anyone. He's good. I'll get him here." All right. What would be the most surprising release trade on his current roster? Hey, what's up, Marco? Marco's a supporter, man. Shout out to him. That's a good question.
I don't really have one.
Surprise.
People always ask me like for like the surprise cut or something. It's like, well, like either I'm just gonna. I mention everything I think about at some point, so like it's really not like.
I don't really have one either.
I feel like everything's on the table too. Like I don't think there's anything that could happen that would surprise
me. Yeah. I'd be surprised if the Saints blew it up.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, Marco, man. We
think, like I don't know. Like I feel like we've evaluated everything.
What if they trade? Would you be surprised if they traded Ramchick?
Oh God, yeah. I would be surprised with that. But like if I say like what would be, that's me putting that into the realm of feasibility, and I don't think that's within that right now.
Yeah. Well,
that's the problem with these things. It's like people ask me these things, and it's like the only way I'm giving you an answer is saying something that I don't think is going to happen, and then it's like, oh, Nick said this could happen.
Right. You'll be on someone's podcast. Someone will be talking about you on their podcast about Nick said the Saints may trade this, and we're not trying to have that. We're not trying to have that. All right, let me see if we got any more questions. Are we gonna? Let me see.
Someone said, "Will Michael Thomas be surprising?" Yeah, I mean, I would say that would be surprising to me, and that's something that people have thrown out there. I don't believe it's gonna happen. Is it surprising to the point that like my head explodes? No, because it's been broached other places. So like that's, but like I think if Mike got traded, there would probably be like a 20-minute period where like I'm just sitting there like, wow, this actually happened. So
Yeah,
that one would surprise me. Yes, that would surprise me. Do I think it's gonna happen? No, I don't. But
last one of the night.
No, Terry,
that's not happening.
Terry can call whoever he wants. Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, he couldn't even get Kyle Harley. He's definitely not getting Alvin Kamara.
Someone said any news on Jimmy Graham? No, there's nothing I've heard on Jimmy Graham. I don't think people make free agent decisions this early in the offseason either. But
I saw something where the Saints are. There's some rumor like Saints. Was it? I think I want to say. I don't even remember. You know what? I don't want to say it because I don't remember where it's from, and I ain't trying to be putting no rumors in front of you. But yeah. Let me see. All right, guys. Well, look. Make sure you send your name and your email to NOF@NewOrleans.Football for a chance to win this T-shirt in a size large or above. No, I'm joking. They come in medium too. So yeah, man.
You got like 3 minutes to enter because this cuts off before when the stream ends.
Listen, it's 10:57 Central Time, so 11 Central. It's a wrap, man. So as Nick told you guys earlier, we will not be recording next week. So you guys just make sure you don't threaten me for not recording this week because I typically get the blame if I'm not on the pod. So I think Nick and the boss of both of us has a little bit something to do with that usually when I get that smoke. So we fear her. But hey, man.
I don't fear her, man.
Yes, you do. You're lying. I will. That is a lie. Okay, I'll post a clip of this on Twitter @TheBoss and see what happens. So, hey, man, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for the questions. Thank you guys who signed up today. We really appreciate it. This pod, new setups, everything that we do is basically supported by you guys. Your support is basically pretty much like the engine, the lifeblood of this entire operation. So thank you, man. We appreciate it. Thank you for sticking with us through this first year. It's been a fun year. It's been a good year. Next year the second year is going to be much better. We got some stuff planned, and we can't wait to, kind of get some of this stuff off our chest and let you guys know. So again, man, your support means everything. We appreciate it. Thank you guys for showing up on the live chat. Makes it way fun. It's just fun. Like, it's not like seeing like a funny comment on the side while Nick is talking, and it's just like, it's like a good distraction, but then you get back into it. So yeah, we appreciate it, man. Make sure you guys go to NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. Few different options there, a few different tiers there that you can choose from. Pick the one that works best for you. I'd recommend the elite tier, because you get the most out of there. But if you can't pick that one, then there's a few different options there for you. So thank you guys for the support. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. We out.